Okay, let's see if we can get this thing working properly. Give me one sec. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. Trying to get the video worked out. If you guys can hear me, if you could drop in the chat that you can hear me, a thumbs up or a yes, that would be fantastic. Let's see here. All right. Got it. Got it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We're streaming this on two different platforms, so I'm trying to figure out where we're at with this so that we can get you up on the screen. There we go. All right. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this special day. I know we got Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. Appreciate each and every one of you coming in and spending some time with us this afternoon or morning, depending on where you're at in the country, as we bring you our good to great presentation. I was thinking of what we could do to make sure that we've got some information out. We're always trying to bring you some things here at Manufacturer Home Sales Mastery. They're going to help propel your career forward, help you do great things in your market. And one of the things that I was thinking about, since this was a short week and we had to move some trainings around for different clients because of the holiday, I thought, you know what would be great? Put together a training that we could come in and do. Really, it's more informational than training, if you would. And so with that being said, it's about being able to provide you some info that is going to really, really make an impact as we move forward. Let me get right here and check this other page real quick as we do this. Let's see. There we go. Right there. All right. Now you guys can see me on the other screen. So anyway, check this out. We all talk about being able to increase. Everybody calls us when we speak to clients. They're talking about, hey, what can we do to increase sales? What can we do to increase sales? And obviously, it's about being able to improve our performance. It's about being able to obviously be able to contact more people or have better influence over the people that we're speaking to. But a couple of weeks ago, there was some information that was shared at the NCC, the National Communities Council Leadership Forum, that was put on by MHI, Manufacturer Housing Institute in Chicago. And I thought that the information that was shared there was really something that it really got me fired up when I started to think about it, because perception has everything to do with what we do or do not accomplish, right? You get excited by what you think you can accomplish, especially for those of us that are salespeople by nature, right? We're always hanging on to hope. We're always thinking of, man, this is a fantastic opportunity. And we cling on to those things and we move forward and we're pushing forward and we're trying to make sure that we're getting this done or accomplishing the things that we're after. And so that information that was shared was something that was really eye-opening for me, and I wanted to bring it into you. There's a whole bunch that we're going to go through. There's a lot of data, a lot of numbers. Please look, stick with me, because part of being able to operate at another level, at an elite level, going from good to great, has to do with being a thinker. I was talking about that this morning in my 15 Minutes to Mastery live stream that I did. We have to be a thinker. We have to be able to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone and start to learn more, not just on how to sell, not just on how to talk to people. We have to learn more about our industry. We have to learn more about the market that's out there. We have to pay attention to what the people are saying so that we can then do better and be better and get more of this business. So with that being said, we put together some information that we're going to share with you, and I'm going to put it up on the screen here so that we can begin that part of it. Give me 1 second, bear with me as we do this right here. Okay, so let me bring it up on the screen for you very, very quickly. I'm going to share this presentation. Share. Here we go. All right. So check this out. We're calling it the good to great, right? Adapting to the new buyer and the market dynamics. And with that being said, look, here's the thing. The housing market has shifted. Have you? We've got to really pay attention to that. Have we shifted? Because over the past 3 to 5 years, the housing market's undergone some changes, as we all know. Prices have gotten higher, interest rates gotten higher, right? The buyers have been more hesitant to be able to make that decision. They come in, they look at the homes, and then I want to think about it, the normal things you get, right? And so the buyer's journey to home ownership has gotten a whole lot more complicated, and it's gotten more complicated for you on the sales side of things. Oh, and by the way, if you've got questions, comments, put them up in the chat. I won't be able to see if you raise your hand, so just put some comments in the chat, and I'll definitely address those as we go along. So with that being said, there is also a new untapped market that the majority of us, the majority of you out there across the country are not paying attention to. It's a new market segment, and we're going to be talking about that as we go along. But as far as for the sales consultant, the community manager, these changes have also brought along some challenges, right? That's why you reach out to us. But a lot of folks are feeling that strain. They're feeling that stress. They're feeling the shift that's happened. And so that can have an effect on what we do or don't accomplish. And so today, what we're really after, here are the outcomes for today. First, we're going to talk about the current market segment for the manufactured home industry. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about what the data says as far as what can be happening over the next 20 years. This is the stuff that really got me fired up, okay? Really got me fired up. Also, we're going to talk about the new first-time home buyer, who you should be targeting and why. We're also going to give you an outlook on the next 10 to 15 years, really past that, but we're going to talk about the next 10 to 15 years and why this is truly a career path. Getting into manufactured home sales is a career path. It's not a job, okay? It's a career path. So we're also going to talk about how you can capture this new buyer segment that I mentioned to you from the previous slide. And lastly, what we can do to take ourselves from good to elite, because that is what it's going to take in order to make this happen. So with all that being said, let's jump right in real quick. And first of all, we're going to talk about the manufactured home market share in the United States. Now, according to MH Insider, right, in an article that Patrick Veer put out in May of this year, okay, it says, how many people live in manufactured and mobile homes? And you'll see there highlighted that the manufactured home industry makes up about 8.6% of the annual home starts. Only 8%, according to this information from MH Insider. And we go a little step further. MHI, the Manufactured Housing Institute, our national association, says that 11% of single family, we represent 11% of single family home starts. So the number ranges from 8 to 11. And that's about where we have been over the last few years. As a matter of fact, the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard University at the beginning of the year this year, in January of 2024, there was an article that was put out. It's called The 5 Barriers to Greater Use of Manufactured Home for Entry-Level Home Ownership. Now, this graph right here, folks, is incredible. This graph right here, it's going to show you. And listen, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of numbers at you out there, okay? Guys, stick with me. We got to start learning these things. We got to start getting fired about these things. And we have to pay attention to these things, because this is what's telling us where we need to go, where you need to go as a housing consultant, as a community manager, where your market is. Okay, so we've got to become continuous learners, okay? And this is where we're going at. Check this out. You'll see that in the 80s, in the 90s, the manufactured home industry actually made up about 40% of the market. 40% of the market, all across the country. And then it just dropped in the 2000s. You see it right here. And over the last 12 to 14 years, folks, we have been under 10% of the market. Under 10% of the market all across the country is made up of manufactured homes. Now that's site-built homes, that's multifamily apartment complexes, things of that nature, and manufactured homes all together. Okay. So from this, here's what we could take away. The current market share is only 8 to 10%. There's another 90% out there of people that are not even looking or aren't purchasing a manufactured home. And we're going to show you what those numbers play out to be. Okay. In the 80s and the 90s, we represented 40% of the market. 80s and 90s, back when they were still really, I mean, if you think about it, in the 80s, the manufactured home shift, or the shift to HUD, didn't happen until 1976. So really, you were still talking about mobile homes, real mobile homes. Okay. 40%. And now it's 10%. So that what this means is it would be a significant, the 10% is considerably low, but it also means that there's a huge opportunity for you moving forward. And we're going to break it down for you as we go along, okay? But the population data screams of a growth opportunity. The population data that we went over a couple weeks ago in Chicago, it's just saying, we need you. The market, the country, the population is saying they need each and every one of you, and thousands more. But we're gonna talk a little bit more about that as we go along. But check this out. Okay, now here come all the numbers. All right, stick with me. Right here, the population. This shows the makeup of the population in 2024. All right, and you'll see that each generation, each bracket, 10-year bracket, from the people born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and even 2010 to 2019, there's about 40 million plus in each bracket. 40 million plus in each bracket of those particular age groups. So what does that mean? This is what that means. That the largest age group, or the largest group that is going to turn 32 to 36 in 2024. So over the next 5 to 10 years, you've got the largest group of population in those 30 to 40 age range. When you stop to think about it, over the next, from right now, 2025 to 2030, the majority of the population is going to be mid 30s to 40 years old. So we're going to explain what that means to you as we move forward. But some of you are probably already figuring this out, right? What does a 35 to 40-year-old probably have figured out at that point in life, hopefully, is going to be their career, their income, right? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. That's takeaway number one that they share with us. Number two, that in the 2000s, there was a huge amount of births, okay? People being born. You see there in the 90s, 44 million people. In the 2000s, 45 million people, 44 million people in the 2000s. We're 2024. So you've got some people that are in their early 20s to mid 20s, right? That are moving forward. That's going to propel the amount of housing need going forward over the next 10 to 15 years of these people as they start reaching that age of needing to buy a home. Okay, right now, so we're going to get into that, like I said. But since then, since the you'll see that there's fewer births, especially in the last 5 years. You see the blue lines over there where it's just gotten under the 40 million. Okay. And that is going to play into who our new first-time home buyer is as we move forward in this. But right now, what I want you to focus in on is that over the next 5 years, 35 to 40-year-olds is going to be the largest population in the U.S. Okay. And that means great things for you when you're talking about being able to sell homes and the need that exists. We're going to talk about that need and how that correlates with what's going on. Now, check this out. In 2024, the number of retirees also has increased. Now, you may say, well, man, what am I going to want? What do retirees really have to do with all of this? How is this going to help us? How is this going to make things better? Well, the great thing about it is this. That age group, let me go back to this slide. Check this out. This was in the 50s and the 60s. Okay, people that were born in the 50s and the 60s. You think about it. Retirement, possibly wanting to downsize, possibly wanting to get into an area where they've got more of the things they need right where they live, i.e. amenities for your community people, okay? But check this out. That same age group, people born in the 50s, what they call up here the innovators, the 60s, the equalizers, you'll see those lines in here, that purple line. Check this out. They are the people that have amassed the most wealth in the history of the United States. Those people have amassed over $43 trillion. So those retirees that we're talking about have the money to be able to purchase a home. Because you would think, well, okay, they're in their 60s. Where are they going to really want to buy a home? Think about it. The need to downsize and having to liquidate their income, their money. Okay. They've either got like it says there, they've accumulated trillions in wealth that they must pass on or spend. So you've got a huge group, 44 million plus people that are in their mid 30s to early 40s that are coming into the market. And you've got all these retirees that have represented the largest amount of wealth accumulation in the history of this country, that are all retiring and possibly wanting to either move into your areas, you folks down in the southeast and south, or that they're wanting to downsize even where they live. And now they're willing to consider communities or would consider communities if we just got the word out to them, right? So, and they've got the money to do it, so they don't have to worry about financing. You don't have to worry about those types of things because it's your cash buyer. So with that being said, remember, there was over 40 million people born each and every decade over the last 60 years. So a huge amount of people. The largest population group over the next 5 to 6 years are going to be people in their mid 30s to early 40s. There's your buyers that you want to be targeting. Okay. So better incomes, more established employment, and open to life changes, buying a home. Okay. The birth rates over 40 million in the 90s and the 20s. That means that over the next 15 to 20 years, okay, somebody born in the 2000s. Think about it. If they're born 2010, right now they're 14. In 10 years, they'll be 25 to 35. So that's where we talk about the next 15 to 20 years still there's going to be a huge need for housing. And you, my friends, are going to be that solution. And we're going to talk more about it, right? There's currently almost 40 million people hitting retirement age. And that's also the generation that's accumulated the most wealth, $43 trillion in wealth. So you've got mid 30s coming in the next 5 years, even if we just focused on 2025, 2030, the largest population in the mid 30s to 40-year-olds. So they're more established, better incomes, needing to make a life change. And then you've also got the retirees that have the most wealth accumulated available to them to be able to purchase a home. So that's what you're looking at as you go away, just looking at the population numbers. Now, we talked about a new first-time home buyer, right? There's a new buyer out there, and we want to talk about who that is. Now, we're going to get back into some numbers here. First and foremost, some things you've got to realize and we got to pay attention to. More people are waiting longer to get married. What does that mean? They're not building families. They're not starting families till later on in life. You see there on the graph, males, 30-year-olds, females, 28-year-olds. That's the average age right now of people that are getting married. Now, the other thing is there's been less births. So people are waiting longer to have families. You'll see right here on this bottom graph, okay, that their weight, you can see the other age groups born in the 80s, 70s, 50s, they started having families a lot quicker than what people are having now. So smaller family units. What does that mean? That means a need for smaller homes. The teen population will have fallen by 3 million. So smaller homes are being needed. Maybe a 1,400, even 1,100 square foot home, right? Like a 16 by 80, a 1,500, 20 by 56 double wide. Smaller homes are what people are looking for and needing nowadays. The first time home buyer is getting older. The average first time home buyer age is 38 years old. We talked about that market segment, right? The largest population group is going to be over the next 5 years in their mid 30s to early 40s. That's your first time home buyer now. So they're more established, they've got better incomes, and they're looking to make a life change. So a first time home buyer, we're going to talk about what they see out there in the market right now as far as site built homes and how your product is the solution for them. Okay. You've got a whole bunch of renters now, people that in the age group of renting. 3 million people have entered that age group over the last 3 years. 3 million people. Okay. These are all huge numbers. These are people in the ages of 20 to 34 that you could also be going after. You could also be targeting with your marketing. You could also be going and trying to get them the information that they need to be able to consider you and your product. We have to know who we're after, right? 900,000 young adults, people between 25 to 35, 900,000 of them have left their parents' house in the last 4 years since the pandemic, right? A lot of them stayed in during the pandemic. And now over the last 4 years, we've seen 900,000 25 to 34-year-olds leave the household. What are they doing? Right now, they're going and renting. The majority of them are going and renting because of the affordability factor and because they haven't truly understood or seen or been made aware of your option, the manufactured home option, whether it's in a community or for your retailers, the same thing. So there's a huge opportunity right there, right? And don't forget the people working from home. Even though now the mandates are coming in, right? All these companies are saying, and the government as well, like we're moving back to the office. There's still 6 million people per year that are being added to the work from home group. So they need that. They want to purchase a home that's going to provide them that security. It's going to give them that stability. So there's all these people, 40 million plus 35 to 40-year-olds. You've got all these retirees with a whole bunch of wealth coming in. You've got all these younger adults leaving the household already with their jobs and going and renting when they could be buying from you. You've got 6 million families or people per year that are moving into work from home. So there's huge opportunities here for you. Okay. And we recapped all of that here. But the bottom of the section here, the need centers around smaller, more affordable homes for a more mature first-time homebuyer, 38 years old, okay, that is looking for quality, affordability in a smaller home that provides flexibility and security. That is what you have. You have the more affordable home. You have a quality, smaller square foot home, and you've got more opportunity to be able to provide them what it is that they need. You've got to be able to help them get that accomplished. Let's see here. We lost something over here on this end. Let me go right there. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just doing the presentation over on this side. We're going to get right back to it. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So with that being said, what do the next 10 to 15 years bring? What's it going to bring? Here we go. Check this out. According to this study that was done by John Burns, research company, over the next 10 years, there's going to be a shortage of 18 million homes. There's going to be 18 million homes needed, I should say, over the next 10 years. From 13 million households, 500,000 that are second homes, and then you got another 2.3 million that are knocking down their current homes and rebuilding something. So 16 plus 1.5 million that are undersupplied. It's 18 million homes needed over the next 10 years. How does that play out? Check this out. This graph right here is incredible. All right. In order to be able to meet the need over the next 10 years, we would have to be averaging 1.8 million homes per year. Currently, check this out, 2024, you see that the actual homes started was a little under 1.5 million. So there's still a gap there. There's still a gap. We're not even providing enough site built. You'll see there's single family home starts, multifamilies, and then manufactured. And you always see manufacturers like the smallest group there. But even between all three categories, we're not providing enough housing for the need to be able to fill that need over the next 10 years. And if you remember, we talked about how we're only 10% of the market. So at 10% of the market, when we're building 1.4 million homes a year, or starting 1.4 million homes, that's 140. We're averaging about 100,000 units. There's still another 1.3 million out there that are people are taking advantage of getting every year that you have the potential to bring in as buyers. But we're going to get to that. Okay, check this out. First-time home buyers, they're going to grow in size 6 million through 2040. Okay, through 2040, we're talking over the next 15 years, there are going to be another 6 million people that are going to be getting into that entry-level or first-time home buyer age group. 6 million. Also, first-time home buyers were born in the mid 2000s. So, like we talked about, that's going to be the people in the 2040s hitting that first-time home buyer. So we're already talking. We talked about the 5 years. We've got a great group. It's going to extend over the next 10, and then in 15, you've got this new wave of people that are beginning coming in, needing their first-time home buyer, their first time buying a home. They're going to need that entry-level home. That is all of you out there in the market right now. Also, the retirees are going to grow by 16 million through 2040. 16 million retirees through 2040. People needing to downsize homes, get into something a little more stable, something where they've got everything around them, near them. This is I'm talking to you in the community space right now with these retirees. Okay, a lot of you have the 55 and over. Here is your group. 16 million through 2040. That's a huge amount of people, right? So we've got a huge opportunity right here. There's a need of 18 million homes. We're not even close to scratching the surface of being able to build as many as are needed between site built, multifamily, and manufactured. Okay. And we're already talking about through the next 15 years, there's going to be a huge need and a huge amount of people coming into the market of first-time home buyers, entry-level product, or downsizing retirees. That is all of you right there. That is your market. Okay. Now, like I said, our industry only produces about 100,000 units of the 1.4 million units that are produced now. Why is that? You, my friends, are the solution. Each and every one of you, everybody across the country, everybody that is in the industry are the solution to being able to get this done. We've got to make sure, sorry on StreamYard that we didn't have this showing. My apologies. But check this out, okay? We've got to be paying attention and understand where we're at as a market. So with that being said, we're going to dive into what it is that's needed right now so that we can make sure that we are operating at the best and providing what is really needed out there. Okay. So you need to pick up your head and go after the new market. And who is this new market? Okay. So check this out. I'm going to go back to the information that's provided by this Joint Center Housing Study. And they talked about the 5 barriers to entry. Remember this graph. We've got about 10% of the market share. And those 5 barriers to entry, we're going to describe what they are, right? But I want to remind you, we need 1.8 million homes produced or starts between single family, multifamily, and manufactured homes. We're only doing 1.5 right now. Here's where it gets really, really exciting. Check this out. We do 10% of the market right now, 100,000 units. There's another 1.3 million between site-built and multifamily. The average household income in the U.S. right now, is, as of 2023, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, is $80,610. So that means that this family, this household, the average household can only afford a $2,300 monthly principal and interest payment, approximately $2,300. That's based on a just taking their income by your 12 months, their monthly income, and averaging out 35% for housing, $2,300. Okay, which is what the banks use. Most banks will go anywhere between 33 to 35% for housing. So $2,300 a month plus taxes and insurance. Now, the median new home price in the U.S. is $437,300 as of October of this year. Okay. That means that the average monthly payment for a new site-built home right now on a 30-year mortgage at 6.75%, which we know the rate just went up again. So but let's base it on 6.75% for a 30-year FHA mortgage. That's $2,800 a month. The numbers don't jive there. The average U.S. household income will only afford them $2,300 a month principal interest. The new site-built home right now, the median price is $437,000, which equates to $2,800 P&I payment. It's not there for them. They don't have it, right? Now, here's where it gets really interesting. There's 131 million households in the U.S. as of 2023. 15.7% of those households make between $50,000 to $75,000 or $74,999 per year. 12% of those households make between $75,000 to $99,999. So that means that over 20% of American households can't afford a new site-built home. When you take 20% of that 131 million households, that's 26 million households that can no longer afford a site-built home. But they can afford your product. They can afford your single wides. They can afford your double wides. They can afford your multi-section homes, whether it's for your retailers or whether it's over here in the community space. But yet we only sell 100,000 units per year. 26 million households, not people, households that can't afford a site-built home right now. Okay, this is the blue ocean. There's a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy that talks about in business, there's markets that are untapped. There's markets that are just waiting to be served. And this is our blue ocean. This is your blue ocean, the 26 million families that can't buy a site-built home. Okay, so what's keeping them from buying a manufactured home? So going back to this article, the 5 barriers to greater use of manufactured housing for entry-level home ownership. Check this out. These are the 5 things. First and foremost, you talk about negative perception of the manufactured home quality. We're going to talk about that here shortly. Restrictive zoning and land use, we all know about that, right? Market conditions, higher prices, interest rates, things of that nature. The unique and limited supply chain, and I mean, it's there, but it's not what it was before. And then this last one that they put on here, access to mortgage financing. I don't agree with this 100%. There are so many different financing options for manufactured homes nowadays that are out there available to everyone. So then what do we do? How do we get these people, these 26 million households, to consider buying a manufactured home? How do we get them to do that? We got to focus on what we can control, as always, right? We focus on what we can control. And this is the one thing out of those 5 that we can control. We can't control anything to do with the financing. It's there anyways. By the way, you don't have to worry about that. You can't do anything about the market conditions. That's where it's at. You can't do anything about supply chain yourself. You can't really do much about the zoning. But what you can do is you can have an effect on the negative perceptions. Okay. And the way they described it here, it says negative perceptions of manufactured home quality. Older manufactured homes, particularly those built before the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development established national standards in 1974, were poor quality and limited aesthetic appeal and serve as a basis of popular conception of manufactured housing, right? It continues on to say, however, newer manufactured homes are much higher quality, with multi-section homes often indistinguishable from site-built housing. Further studies have found that when the home and land on which the site is jointly owned, these homes appreciate at rates very close to site-built housing. Yet negative perceptions remain firmly entrenched, limiting both consumer interest and willingness of localities to allow these homes in their communities. So in other words, long story short, the houses look like crud in the past. They don't anymore. They actually appreciate now. However, everything that's gone on in the past still affects what people think and feel about the product, and also about cities allowing these homes to come into their areas. And with that being said, here's what I believe. The product is no longer a point of contention. If you've gone to the home shows, if you've got new homes in your communities or at your retail locations, you know that the product has come a long way. You know that the product has just completely changed the way that it looks and feels. And these are some great things. So it's improved tremendously. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is you. And I'm going to include myself in it. When I was still on the retail side, it's the buying experience that you provide to this new potential home buyer. The product is great. The financing is great. There's even some cities that are allowing HUD-coated homes, these cross mods, to come in. They're building subdivisions, putting them out there. But more and more people are still not open to buying these things. I'm even going to tell you, the people that had that stigma, okay, about what a mobile home was, they're way in the past. All these new home buyers that are coming into the market that we talked about, these early 30-year-olds to mid 30s, they don't have that stigma. They just don't know about the product. And when they do go out and visit a location, the buying experience that they go through doesn't get them jazzed to buy a house. Okay. These buyers, they're used to a different type of buying experience. And a lot of times they're very, very well informed. Heck, all this information is online. Right. So if this is online, everything else about our homes are online. Everything else about the companies are online, the manufacturers and the financing. It's all there. They're well informed. Sometimes more than you. Retailers, okay. I visit retailers all across the country, still presenting the product, not trimmed out, no ACs, no staging. And these folks are used to going and looking at model home centers where everything is decked out, decored. It's looking great. Yet you walk them into your location and it's not even trimmed. You can see where the marriage line came together. You got sheetrock laying on the ground. You haven't really cleaned it up. We're just not putting our best face forward, right? The other thing is this: the mindset is still focused on what you can take from your competitors. You're still focusing on that 10%. You're still focusing on how can I get more of that 100,000 for us. That 100,000 has been there for decades, for a very long time. You're not going to lose that. That market is there. Instead, you should be focusing on these 26 million families, these households that can no longer buy a site-built home. But why don't we? Because it takes changing the way we operate. It takes changing the way you present yourself. It takes learning more to be able to be more professional. That's why we don't chase after that. We don't pick up our head. We're so stuck right here on this 10%. And how can I get it from them? And how can we take from these guys? And how are they selling some more? And when we haven't lifted our head and looked and said, 26 million households out there that are waiting for us. The retail sales culture is still filled with a mindset of only selling to quote unquote trailer people. And that leads to a lack of enhanced buying experience. We're still looking at it that way. And I know because I go and visit these, and it's not just on the retail side. I've got to say, honestly speaking, it happens in the community space as well. It happens in the community space as well. When we get into, these trailer people, hold up. If you keep talking this way, we keep focusing on that, that's where we're going to stay, in that 10%. We're never going to pick our head up and go after that 26 million that are out there, right? So you got community managers that are still hesitant to help families that have a housing problem because they aren't quote unquote salespeople. I'm not a salesperson. I was hired to be a salesperson. I understand that you weren't. We understand that you weren't. But the reality of it is you have homes for sale, and we've got 26 million households out there that need you to simply help them become a homeowner. There's so much opportunity, but we are getting in our own way. The product has elevated. The product has gotten better, way better. And I think we can all agree to that. The financing is tremendous. There's so much opportunity out there. What hasn't changed is you, the face, the sales front, the people that these buyers are coming and meeting with. We're still going about as if we were still 1990, 1980, 1970 and approaching it this way. We still have our display units looking a certain way. Even on the newer product. You have the power to change the perception and bring in this new buyer into the manufactured home market. You, my friends, all of you, everyone in the market has the opportunity to be able to get that done. You can do this without a doubt. So how do we do it? It takes us going from good to elite. It takes us becoming more impactful. Because the impact that you can make is huge, and the solution is simple, okay? To operate at an elite level, you must do the following. First and foremost, you got to accept that the market's changed. There's more potential out there. The market has changed. Look, the 10% are always there. That buyer is always there. But for those of you that have homes that have not sold, for those of you that are overstocked, for those of you that are ordering homes and wondering, well, how are we going to sell? Or why is there such less traffic? Why don't we get, more traffic? Because you're still going after the 10% and you're not even looking at the 26 million households that are out there. So stop competing against other retailers and communities. Go after the site-built customer that can't afford the home, but you can't do it the same way you do for what would typically be that 10% market. You have to change the sales process. You have to change your approach to provide an enhanced buying experience. Think about when you go shopping. Think about if you went to go buy a car. I always use this example when I go do training with retailers or communities and I talk to them. I said, look, if you went even I talk about our experience, our personal experience in buying our last couple of vehicles. We had we were blessed to be able to buy some nice vehicles recently or in the recent past over the last few years. And we went to a great Cadillac dealership here in San Antonio, and the way we were treated, the way we were spoken to, the way the sales consultant presented himself and carried himself and the information that he knew and the ins and outs of it. When you think about it, it doesn't even have to be a Caddy dealership. When you just go buy a vehicle nowadays and you're walking out to go get in your vehicle and they start walking you through the whole car and setting it all up for you and everything. I mean, they know the ins and outs of these things. And we can't even describe what kind of insulation factor we have in our homes. What kind of a buying experience are we providing, right? So we have to start growing as professionals. We have to have the growth mindset. We have to understand what's gotten us here will not get us there. We have to change. We have to grow. We have to continue to learn. We have to continue to work at providing a better buying experience. And that means we have to be more professional. The days of the trailer salesperson are gone. Not if they're gone if you want to hit that 26 million families that are out there and just liquidate all your inventory and ramp up production and the huge need and be the solution for the housing crisis that's going out there. But the only way we're going to do it is by being a constant learner about the industry, about the product, and about sales. We gotta know our industry better. We got to know the ins and outs of the product, ins and outs, not just, hey, we got some nice little light fixtures. Oh, these cabinets, look, we're more residential style. Oh, we've got nice crown molding. No, I'm talking about really knowing the ins and outs of the product. And obviously, sales, overcoming objections, asking for the business, having a true sales process, an interview that really digs deep and gets the information that these customers that you need to have in order to help these potential home buyers solve their housing need. And the only way we're going to take the time to do those things is by operating with empathy, having empathy and integrity in everything that we do. Because when you have empathy, that means that you care. That means that you want to do better, that you want to help these folks. We have to be an advocate for our industry and the product on social media. Look, everybody knows you sell homes. You put the product, you advertise for all you folks in the community space and retail space, and you've got your business pages for your communities or retail locations. Great, advertise your homes. But you got to start being educational. You got to start promoting the product. You got to start promoting the quality. You've got to start raising the level of quality or the awareness of the quality of our product to the public. Not just, hey, this is a great house we have out here and we've got it $10,000 off today if you come and visit. It's not about that anymore. People want the information. People are starving for the information. People are starving and needing your product. But we aren't out there advocating for it. The only way we're going to do it is by surrounding ourselves with like-minded professionals. We got to break the mold. We've got to get rid of the trailer salesperson mentality. We've got to get rid of the apathy of thinking, oh, well, I just hang out here at the community and well, we've got some trailers there for sale. Stop with all of that. We got to have pride in what we do. There's 26 million households all across the country that need you. They can no longer afford that home. They can no longer, they need you, your product. They need your communities. They need the price point. But they more importantly need you to be better. And that's where we come in. We're advocating with you, for you, in promoting these things. Whether it's things like our 2025 Path to Mastery that we did last week, whether it's something like this call here, we're bringing information. We got Empowering Community Managers Program. We've got Immersion Sales Training Program. We do a Sales Supercharged Summit that's coming up again. We did it last year. We're going to do it again. We're doing it bigger and better. This time we're wanting to make it live now and bring in speakers and things of that nature. But it's about building a community of people that want to do more, want to be more. Because when we do that, think about it. For those of you that are on LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn, check it out. All right, go on LinkedIn and check it out. You'll see how every other industry promotes what it is that they do, how well they do it. They have all these events, they have all these things, they have these networks of people. Even though they're competitors, they still promote their own industry, and they're out there just pounding the streets and making it known. We need to do the same thing. We need to do the same thing. And look, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm here to tell you, it will not be easy, because I can tell you this much. All right. I'll use the example of our company, right? And even though I'm showing you stuff that we've done, it's more to give you an idea of what it's going to take. We're talking about changing the perception of the public's, of the general public, when it comes to manufactured homes. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take all of us. It's going to have to happen every day. You're going to have to get out there and advocate for the industry every day. You're going to have to promote for it every day. Not promote sales, promote the industry, promote the product. Change the way you operate so that when people come in, they see a professional person that truly cares and can provide them that enhanced buying experience. Because manufactured home sales mastery, think about this. I want to give you the example. We started this company in April of 2023. There's nothing like it in the industry. There's other companies in other industries. There's other sales training companies. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. Grant Cardone, Andy Elliott. I mean, and the list goes on, right? There's so many Sanford and all these sales training companies, but nothing that was specific to the manufactured home industry. It took, 7 days a week of me being out there, me putting this stuff out there for folks, right? Hey, Nick, I appreciate it, man. I will actually, there's going to be there's a QR code that you can get, or you can go online to our website, manufacturedhomesalesmastery.com, and you can get details there. You can download, request to get the download of this presentation, and you'll get other details on that. This wasn't to pitch anybody on any of our programs, I promise you, but it's more to give you an example of what's required of us right now. Okay, but I appreciate you reaching out on that. And feel free to schedule a call, and we can talk more about what maybe your needs are. But anyway, going back to what I was talking about is this: 7 days a week, putting the information out there, making phone calls, posting here, posting everywhere. And for 7 months, nothing. And then that one call came in, and then another. And slowly it's started to grow. And all I'm telling you is, now for us to change the perception of the general public out there, it's going to take us, all of us, every day operating at a different level. It's going to take all of us every day promoting and advocating. It's going to take all of us every day that whenever somebody calls in, we're different on the phone. Whenever they come into your community or your location, we're different. It's going to take us operating at that elite level every day. Whether you're seeing the results or not, you got to put in the work. You got to have the belief, and you put in the work before you see the results. But we have to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because there's 26 million households out there that are preferring to go rent than buy a manufactured home. Not because the product isn't there, not because your communities aren't beautiful, not because the land home packages aren't attractive and the payments and they can't afford them. They can afford them. Your stuff is a lot less expensive. You're not at $437,000. The land home packages that we were doing when I was a general manager here, between land and home, were in the 250 to 300, 350. If it's a higher end home, 350 or 400. It's still less than the 437. They can afford what you've got, but you've got to be different. We have to be disruptors. We have to change the way we operate. As an industry, we have to change the way that we operate as individuals and as professionals. And it takes us first taking the step of growing. We got to grow. We got to learn. We got to get better. And then we got to take massive action. We got to put it out there. We got to keep growing. We got to keep doing it. So you can do that. We're bringing things like these. We're truly trying to revolutionize this industry, because I love what it's done for me and my family when I was selling just like you. And now I'm bringing what I did, and what I strongly believe is what's going to propel our industry forward. And we're bringing it to you, and we're creating things like these calls that I appreciate you guys being on. You didn't have to be here. You're not obligated to be here, but you decided to come in, and we're bringing them to you. We're proud to. Because we want to highlight you, the sales consultant, the community manager, anyone involved on the sales side. You're the ones that are hardly ever spoken about. And we're bringing it for you, to you. Things like this, things like the programs. We have a new mastermind we created with our Path to Mastery event that we did last week, that now we've got these people we're going to be meeting once a month to be able to share ideas and bring them speakers and all to build that network of professionals, so that we can be putting better face and foot forward. But it's going to take all of us doing it together. So that's what I got for you. 26 million families out there that can no longer afford a site-built home, but they can afford yours. They can afford your product, and it's what they need. They just need you to operate different. They need you to raise up the game. They need you to continue to grow. Go to our website. You want to find out more about what we do? Great. You don't? That's okay too. But you can go there. You can scan the QR code, or you can go directly to our website, and you'll see a pop-up come up. You can request to get the download of this information in case you found it, something that you'd like to share with your teams, with your people, or maybe just go back over, see the stats, see the numbers. But opportunity is huge. We got to get our head out above the weeds and look forward. Stop worrying about the competitors. That's their man. You got it. You're handling it. It's time to go after that. It's time to raise the bar. It's time to go after those families and help those. When I say go after them, I mean help them. But we've got to be able to provide them a better experience when it comes to those things. So that being said, I hope each and every one of you have a great Thanksgiving holiday. I hope that you guys all are able to share that time together with each other and enjoy your break. We'll be here each and every day. I'll be in tomorrow with our 15 Minutes to Mastery live stream. And if there's any way that we can help you moving forward, we are here to help. We would love to help. Please do not hesitate to reach out and ask, because we want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to move the industry forward. And we can only do that by helping you. So thank you very much for your time. You guys enjoy it. If once again, go to the website. You can get the download. You can book a call, whatever it is. But more importantly, just take that step and let's start doing better. You guys have a great Wednesday. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And as always, I can't wait to meet you.